You have already learned how to find the position of numbers on the number line, whether it is an integer or a rational number. But what if you want to find the position of a footballer on the football ground? Now this is something similar to finding the position of a city or a country on the globe. And how do we find that? That is done using the longitudes and the latitudes. Now, this is something which is your coordinate geometry. In order to find the position of a point in the plane, we use the Cartesian plane or the coordinate plane. It is also called the XY plane. Now what that plane is? Actually that plane is nothing, but it has been made by drawing two number lines on it which are mutually perpendicular. Let us see how we do that. Now here we have our first number line which is horizontal, and another number line we draw which is perpendicular to it. Now the horizontal number line is called x dash x, or it is called the x-axis, and the vertical one is called y dash, or the y-axis. Remember, the two number lines intersect perpendicularly at their origins, that is the points 0. So this position, this point we can call as O. Now let's plot the numbers on the number line. On the horizontal one, remember that the points are marked at equidistant. Okay, so see that these points are equally distant from each other. Now what you will be doing is, on the horizontal one, your usual number line. Towards the right we have the positive numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Towards the left we have the negative numbers -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 and so on. On the vertical axis or on the y-axis, towards the upper side we mark the positive numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And the lower side is your negative numbers -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6 and so on. Now if you observe carefully, the whole plane is divided into 4 parts. The first part, which is the area of angle XOY, is called the first quadrant. Angle YOX dash is your second quadrant. Angle X dash OY dash is your third quadrant, and angle Y dash OX is your fourth quadrant. So these two number lines, or the X and the Y axis, divide the whole plane into 4 quadrants. Now this kind of plane is called a coordinate plane, a Cartesian plane, or an XY plane. Now suppose there is a point over here given and the name is A. So in order to find that how far is A from the X and the Y axis, we write its coordinates. And how do we do that? For that, from A we draw a perpendicular to the X axis, which comes around 2, consider. So we first write the X coordinate as 2. Then from A you draw a perpendicular to the Y axis. It meets at 4. So the Y coordinate is 4. So the point A is 2, 4, which means that A is 2 units away from the Y axis and 4 units away from the X axis. Now suppose we have another point over here. let's name it as B. In order to find the coordinates of B, draw perpendicular to the x-axis and perpendicular to the y-axis. Now here it meets, the perpendicular meets the x-axis at -3. So the x-coordinate of point B is -3. It meets 1 on the y-axis. So the y-coordinate is 1. So this is how we can find out the coordinates of any given point on the Cartesian plane. Now there are special names given to the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate. The x-coordinate of any point is called abscissa. Abscissa is the x-coordinate, and the y-coordinate, it is called the ordinate. Okay. One more thing you can observe, that in the first quadrant we see that x values are positive, y's are also positive. So in the first quadrant the ordered pair will be always positive, comma positive. That is, abscissa and ordinate both will be positive. Whereas in the second quadrant x is negative and y is positive. So in the second coordinate you will have minus plus. That is, abscissa negative and ordinate positive. Same way if you consider the third quadrant, x is also negative, y is also negative. So in the third quadrant we have minus minus. Same way in the fourth quadrant, x is positive and y is negative. So here you have abscissa positive and ordinate negative. So this is about the points. So just by looking at the points you can find out whether it is in the first or the third or the fourth quadrant. So you learned how to find the coordinates of the given points. Now suppose a point is given, then how will you plot it? Let's say we have a point C whose coordinates are 3 and -3. Okay. Now 3 means abscissa is 3. So you will go to 3 on the x-axis. Now from there -3. Now -3 is y's value. So -3 of y is going to come down. So from 3, move 3 units down, which is -3. So this point x is 3 and y is -3. So this is your point C whose coordinates are 3, -3. This is how you will plot the points. Suppose you have to plot a point D whose coordinates are -4 and -3. Now x is -4. So on the x-axis go to -4. From there move downwards towards -3 till you reach -3. So here comes your minus. So this point is going to be D, which is -4 and -3. Suppose you have to mark another point E, which is -1 and 4. So x-axis -1 and y4 positive means you will have to move upwards. So -1 and 4 comes here. So this point will be your E, which is -1 and 4. So this is what you are going to learn in class 9th of coordinate geometry. Thank you.